I'm Angeliki Kosmopoulou. I'm a member of the board of the People's Trust, and I have the pleasure to discuss microfinancing with Mr. Shkelzen Marku, co-founder and managing director of Yunus Social Business Balkans. Welcome, Zen.
It's a pleasure to be together.
Do you want to tell us a few things about microfinancing in Albania and your own experience? We know that access to finance is one of the big priorities to small and medium enterprises all over the world. And I would bet that things in Albania are pretty much the same. What is your experience and what is it that you are offering to your compatriots?
What Yunus Social Business is doing since mid-2012, we started in Albania in mid-2012, where Yunus Social Business is a global network working in different countries in 7 regions of the globe. And in Albania, we are not just offering microfinance. We have tried to adopt some financing tools for social businesses. First, what is a social business? Is a business which doesn't aim just profit maximization, but aims to produce maximum social benefit for the community, for a special target group in different ways. But it has to work as a business in order to ensure sustainability and keep that topic, that problem under the control in a long term. When we started at the beginning, we started with the assumption that access to finance was the major and almost the only problem. As most of the people, when you meet new entrepreneurs, they say, I cannot start something because I don't have financing. We started and we saw that there are available 2 types of financing in Albania. There are some microfinance institutions which have started to develop in beginning of 90s, just when Albania changed from communist system to the market economy. And then there is the banking system, which has developed, but there is this middle, which is difficult to access. All the banks require large collaterals and usually prefer to lend on large amounts because overhead costs then become lower per borrower. And microfinance institutions have developed, but still they are offering only financing. And what we saw very soon is that the prerequisite to access financing are 2 things. First thing is to have an entrepreneur who is committed and skilled to do business, to produce a product or service that is needed in the market. And the second is the business model, how to put all that together. And many of the new entrepreneurs that had good ideas were not accessing the financing which was available, despite the issues of availability, because they did not had a good business idea. So we were obliged kind of to go back and start working with these entrepreneurs to help them design the business models, test them in the market, and then help them facilitate the financing. The types of financing that we provide are a mix of financing. Mostly we provide small equity and soft loans, long-term, up to 7 years, without personal guarantee, because we tried to adapt to these particular types of businesses. Social businesses usually are working on markets which are more difficult, are working with target groups, marginalized target groups, which are more difficult. And this particular target group of entrepreneurs has even more difficult than the standard traditional entrepreneurs to access financing, because of a lot of more risks that are involved in doing this kind of business. So we tried to adopt different financing mechanisms, but always it was necessary to accompany the package, to build a package, not only financing, but provide pre-financing support in helping transform the ideas into workable business models and help them test them, help entrepreneurs and their team acquire the business skills and capacities to implement these business models, financing, and then post-financing support. What both banks and microfinance institutions usually they do in Albania, they provide only financing. Mm-hmm. And these entrepreneurs that they are starting new businesses. Most of them have never done business before, so they are for the first time entrepreneurs. They need a spare partner. They need a spare partner, and not only a technical advisor, but they need somebody to discuss and help them guide through the 100 problems in decision making, in a day-to-day decision making. Of course, we don't intervene in a day-to-day basis with all the entrepreneurs. We are a small team and we cannot do it, but we meet regularly with all portfolio companies to discuss what are the challenges, how we can help them, guide them on decision making and help them, because very often they are divided. Should I take this decision? Should I take that decision? Which one is best? So we go through together and work with them to help them make the best decision for their business. It is this pre-financing and post-financing support, we think that it is as much important, if not more, than the financing. Because we have seen a lot of examples where they did have a financing either from their own or from the bank, but because of the lack of pre-financing support in designing a workable business model and post-financing support, they failed. So we are trying to help them mitigate these risks and in this way also help efficiency of investment.
Thank you. You have taken a very popular and a successful international model and adapted it to your own country. What do you think is the most important criterion for such an adaptation to be successful? What is, there is legislation, the regulatory framework, there are always the individual people, especially the first people who are the recipients of your services and are in a way ambassadors of what you're doing. But if you were to define or to pinpoint one thing that is the most important for such an adaptation, what do you think would be?
This is difficult to define and to be precise, but I think an important factor in replicating these models or other models, and this probably can go for also other things outside financing, is the team who implements it. I think having a team which is open-minded, which is willing to fail, willing to test new things, and willing to accept failure and still stand up and try new things, this is a new type of doing business in the support to the entrepreneurship community. Until now, we have both Albania and Greece and all the whole Balkans, we have a long experience with two broad models. Government funding, which goes straight through public institutions, and we have all these donations and charity. And this part in middle, doing business for social good, has always not been tackled by institutions. I think the key factor is the team who implements it. This is a new model that we are trying to introduce in the economy, and we first, as teams that we are trying to introduce and to adopt this model, we need to be able to test, improve, fail, learn from the failure, and go on with a new model. And this is the thing that we are trying to teach also and to help also entrepreneurs understand, to embrace failure. Of course, I'm not saying that it is good to fail, but this is part of the life, and we need to learn from failures and stand up and move on. And through this change, we are helping to change both sides, the donation-based and the public sector, and build a new entrepreneurship culture. A lot of people try to measure us with the figures of the banks, how much financing which is the total volume of financing that we have given, and which is the number of people that we have financially supported. They try to compare it with banks. Banks have been for a long time in the market. We are not trying to compete with numbers. What we are trying is to change the culture of entrepreneurship, and also the culture of helping entrepreneurs, the culture of institutional supporters. So the culture from the entrepreneur side and the culture of institutions that support entrepreneurs. And this is a long-term process. It is like education. We cannot hope that by starting with the kindergarten that we just expect them to come up with the university diploma. So we need to wait, we need to work with them, and the result of this changing culture that we are introducing at Yunus Social Business or at the People's Trust here in Greece, which is doing a very good job, it is a medium to long-term result that we should look for. And our impact is not just how many people we have impacted directly now, but how much we have helped change the culture and how much we have motivated other actors to join the sector. So more and more actors if they try to copy or to learn from us, from both mistakes and successes, and try to replicate it, I think that's success that we are reaching. So I don't see that as a competition.
Thank you very much for a very interesting discussion.
You're welcome.